The RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what is going on, good kind people? Lee Sanders here of the RCWR Show, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Here we are once again for Tuesday of May the 11th, 2021, and we are talking about NWA Powerrr Fallout. This was our NWA Powerrr, but it was a Super Powerrr edition. Yes, it was a Super Powerrr edition that they gave to us this week. But the question that I would have to pose to you guys that saw it this week, was it really super? That's the debate right there. Was it really super? We're definitely going to be talking about that and some more little tidbits of NWA news on this episode. I do welcome every single one of you that's tuning in live right now, or you're going to be watching this on demand. Also, we'll have this episode be available for the downloads as well. Appreciate the love and support as always. I gotta tell you, it's nice to be able to kick back as far as all the days of wrestling goes, because there's a lot of content that we get coming at us on a weekly basis. You all know this. Nothing pleases me more than checking out the NWA product. Really, and I sincerely mean that. If you were to ask me so far, since I've been spending, I think it's been about 2 months now since I pretty much signed up with Fight TV so I can be able to continue to watch NWA and all. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good for the most part. I mean, there's a couple of areas here and there where you go, okay, you know what, this could be a little bit better. This would be kind of cool if this happened, but you know what, it's still a learning experience to a certain degree for the promotion. They are making their strides and everything. But yeah, no, you know what, as far as being able to spend that $5 monthly checking out the NWA episodes, I'm not regretting it right now. I still say, now that you're pretty much following up with me some handful of weeks later, as far as, okay, Lee, I got an extra $5 I can spend. Should I invest it on NWA Powerrr? Should I get that Fight TV subscription? I would say, yeah, you definitely want to go on ahead, hook yourself up and everything. So, loved how this show had kicked off, as we got a nice little bit of a jolt, if you will, at the announce table. And before anybody goes, oh, so Velvet Sky was maybe sick, she wasn't able to show up on this episode. No, we had got Velvet Sky. She's coming along. She's actually getting a little better. I mean, just by a little bit, but hey, due time, right? Due time. But no, what was that's a nice little surprise. We actually had got to see Cal. Cal was actually with Tim Storm and Velvet Sky for the Powerrr opener, Cal Davis. Meanwhile, Joe Galley, automatically you're going, where's Joe Galley? Joe Galley all right? Joe Galley was actually, they basically switched, right? Normally we see Cal over at the podium. He's doing the interviewing and all that. And Joe Galley's the one doing the commentating. Well, they switched it just for this opener. We saw Joe Galley at the podium as he was interviewing Strictly Business. And we got pretty much an update about what all had transpired since the last episode. Remember, on the last episode, which was Power Surge, Nick Aldis had found out, not by Billy Corgan, not by the upper NWA management executives. No. He had to find out through Joe Galley that there was going to be a 14 Battle Royal match to determine who was going to be the number one contender that would go on to face Nick Aldis for that 10 pounds of gold. I was about to say those, but no, for that 10 pounds of gold, that NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So Nick Aldis has had a little bit of time to think about everything from the week prior, and he pretty much, I gotta tell you, just what a brilliant power move that Nick Aldis did on this episode, in this opener, to try to ensure that he's going to continue to be the NWA champion by any means necessary. We'll get to that in just a hot second, because we're definitely about to hit that mark. But everything around this interview, I love how Nick Aldis was taking little jabs at Joe Galli, calling him a Nancy Grace, calling him a Geraldo Rivero, Anderson Cooper, and pretty much trying to put him in his place, saying, you know what, you keep this up, you don't adjust your attitude, I'm going to send your ass back to San Antonio, where you can continue to do coverage of old people, storms, hurricanes. And I love how Joe Galli pretty much came right back and countered that. He said, coming from you, that really means a lot. And you know exactly what I mean. And I'm like, oh, Joe coming in. I'm like, okay, Joe showing a little bit of backbone here. It's like, he ain't intimidated by no strictly business. That's what's up. I like that. But also, I love how Nick Aldis was taking shots at Billy Corgan. I mean, as far as one-liners of the evening, the whole Billy Corgan should be thanking me right now, but instead I find that we are in the attitude era, when this should be all about the gratitude era for any and everything that I've done for the NWA all these years, putting this company on my back and everything. Love that whole gratitude era. I love that little jab that he took at Billy Corgan and everything. Now, with regards to our new number one contenders, our tag contenders in Chris Adonis and Thomas Latimer. Interesting development right here, because, Nick Aldis, he put these guys over and everything and pretty much said, I see what Billy Corgan is trying to do, but he's not going to be able to stop the inevitable. We will have all the gold here in the NWA, and when we do, we're going to have absolute power. We're going to be running roughshod in the NWA. I mean, Aldis is already doing his thing right now as the NWA champion, but just imagine when Strictly Business, if they are able to get themselves in a position where they can pretty much have all the freaking gold, got all the gold, whew, a lot of freaking power comes with that. A lot of freaking stroke comes with that. But the more Nick Aldis started thinking about it, the more he kind of realized, okay, you know what? Actually, this is not a good idea. I don't really think that it would be in Strictly Business's best interest right now to be going after the NWA tag team titles. So he actually pulled, no bullshit, he actually pulled Thomas Latimer and Chris Adonis from their main event match that was supposed to be going down tonight. And I mean, this is something that we had saw advertised. Now, look, we always knew what was, because I mean, they pretty much taped these prior and everything. So but at the same time, you as a fan, you're going, oh man, looking at this card for NWA Superpower, oh man, this is going to be a pretty good card. Okay, I'm looking forward to this, because in the main event match, bear with me a second here, so I can pull up the card here. The official card, it was supposed to be in the main event. We were supposed to have a Thomas Latimer, Chris Adonis taking on Aaron Stevens and Kratos. It was supposed to be for the NWA tag team titles. That actually was supposed to be our main event match for tonight. I knew they were facing each other. I just wasn't sure if it was for the titles or if it was a non-title match. By the way, while I'm talking about the whole title picture scene real quick, I have a huge correction that I need to make. Very rare when I give recapping reviews, and usually my reactions to the shows overall, very rare will I have a slip up. And I guess maybe there was a little bit too much 420 going on for me because we got to rewind it back to the 420 episode of NWA Powerrr. I came on this very episode and I had told you guys about that one tag match where Saul Ronaldo had, remember I told you guys how this weird stuff had went down and somehow he ended up having a tag partner in Tim Storm. They had won. And remember that? This was around that period where Saul Ronaldo, for a series of episodes, was not really harassing Aaron Stevens, but he wanted a shot at the tag titles. And Aaron Stevens kept telling him, okay, well, if you can find yourself a tag partner, sure, I will give you a shot at the tag titles. No problem. And so we never did see Saul Ronaldo come out with a tag partner. And there was just all this craziness that was going on. And you were kind of under the impression that match that we saw in that 420 episode, you're kind of under the impression that was the match for the NWA tag titles. It was not. It was actually a non-title match. I say that and I stress that because if you kind of really weren't paying attention to that episode, then you definitely were going to be scratching your head during this episode when ultimately you would see Aaron Stevens holding on to one half of the NWA tag titles going, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? So I saw that there was at least a decent amount of people that were also kind of confused by what was going on because I was chatting it up in the Discord and also peeking my head in a couple of forums and everything. And there's definitely a nice little bit amount of people that were a little bit confused by what they had saw play out on this episode tonight and everything. So yeah, Nick Aldis actually pulled Thomas Latimer and Chris Adonis from that main event tag team match, and they looked pretty damn pissed, especially Thomas Latimer. He looked extremely pissed. Aldis is saying to the guys, we're going to smooth this out. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk about this later. And pretty much one of the main reasons why Aldis did this, as he kind of alluded to on the microphone right before Strictly Business made their exit, Billy Corgan, I see what you're trying to do. I see exactly what you're trying to do. I know the move that you're trying to make and everything, and it's not going to work. You think that you're going to be able to break this up that we got going on here in Strictly Business. No. I see you, and I'm going to raise you one, and that pretty much was it. So now that you hear that, you can't help but go, okay, so what exactly does this mean for the main event match? We'll get to that in a hot second, right? Meanwhile, we had our first matchup of the evening. It was a TV qualifying match. Mims taking on M-Dog Matt Cross. Nice little decent opener. Short little match, man. Short little match. If you were to tell me these guys didn't even go 5 minutes, like they didn't even make it to the 5-minute mark at least, it wouldn't surprise me because it felt like a really short match. I wish I could really dig into this. I mean, just a little bit that I was seeing from both men, knowing at this point what both guys are capable of, especially that Matt Cross, just a little bit I was seeing, I was expecting for it to really pick up. Now, look, I wasn't expecting no 15-minute match from these guys tonight, but I definitely was expecting it at least, say, up to a 10-minute match, give or take, just a little bit shy. I was expecting that. The little bit that I saw, it did whet my appetite. I definitely admit that. I just wish I could have seen a lot more. The first match, just boom. I mean, you blink and it was pretty much over. Matt Cross picking up the dub, so he gets one step closer there, if you will, to maybe being in a position where he could possibly face the TV champion, the NWA TV champion and everything. After this, post-match, Austin Idol with Tyrus came out, and they pretty much wanted... Tyrus didn't do any talking on this one. This was pretty much all on Austin Idol. Idol wanted for the Pope to come out because he had a few words that he wanted to say to him and everything. Pope reluctantly came out. Austin Idol actually gave him props and everything. And, first it was interesting because first he criticized him and everything. He pretty much said to him, that championship that you got, around your waist there and your hands there, that's my championship. That belongs to me. So, here he is. Here he is, Austin Idol being very territorial and everything, and coming off insulting and just mean mugging Pulp like we don't know what, right? But then on the flip side to it, put that badgering and all that to the side. Now he's trying to flip it and say to him, hey, what you've been doing, I will give you this much props. What you've been doing these past several weeks, these W's that you've been stringing together in defending your TV title, I got to give you mad props because at this point, you're 4 title defenses away from that. What is it? The lucky number 7 or whatever. He's like, you're I thought it was 10. I'm a little bit confused right there. I actually got to go back and check out what the real deal is on that one. But I was always under the impression defend the title a successful 10 times, since they keep referring to it as 10 pounds of gold. So, I think I'm actually might be right. I think I am right, but yeah, we'll see. But also I was giving him a lot of props, saying to him, hey, congrats. You've been stringing together these W's, defending that title. All you need now is 4 more, and you get to get yourself a shot at the 10 pounds of gold. So I got to give you mad props for that. And he tried to shake his hand. Pulp didn't shake his hand. He just pretty much walked off. So, a little bit of tension right there. You could cut that bad boy with a knife. That was pretty good. Pretty good stuff right there. See, Aaron Stevens was in a backstage interview with Mae Valentine. And pretty much now you kind of understand why I said what I said earlier about the tag team title picture and all that. Had to give you guys that correction from that 420 episode and all. So now we're all on the same page here. So Aaron Stevens with Mae Valentine, and he pretty much acknowledges to Mae that, yeah, past several weeks, has there been issues between himself and Kratos? They haven't been exactly on the same page and everything. Yes, without a doubt. Has there been a couple of ruffles in their relationship? Yes, without a doubt. But when it's all said and done, they are still a tag team. They are tag team champions. And everything that you were getting from Aaron Stevens on this episode, Aaron Stevens at this point, he is still heavily invested in his tag partner. And you could almost kind of take it to that point where you can make an argument of, titles or no titles, this is my boy. Me and him, we've been through a lot and everything, and we always don't see eye to eye. Maybe ultimately that's what makes opposites attract, right? You can almost kind of make that argument there. But Aaron Stevens, like, no, that's still my boy. We got our issues, but we still the tag champions. So, I mean, interesting. Just that's a nice little development that's continuing to go on there between Aaron Stevens and Kratos. I mean, at this point, there's going to be a serious implosion there. Something's going to go down. You can't help but wonder if everything's going to implode at the upcoming NWA pay-per-view. Or what? I kind of feel like at this point, that's probably where things are really going to be popping. So we'll have to wait and see how that development plays itself out. Saul Ronaldo, speaking of Kratos and all that, I mean, and you know what? And I got to say, it's the little things that I kind of think about in retrospect. Props to NWA for how they did that particular scene there with Aaron Stevens talking with Mae and everything, because I like the fact that we haven't seen Aaron Stevens and Kratos share the same moment in time together since what had went down with that 6-man tag team match from a couple of weeks ago, where Trevor Murdoch, had he won, he would have gotten a shot at the national title. But since he lost, he's been suspended for 30 days without pay. So, I think it's interesting that as far as Kratos and Stevens goes, we haven't seen them together since that had went down and everything. And the only reason why I'm highlighting that is because we saw Kratos later on, like shortly after that backstage little interview May did with Aaron, and he actually had a match against Saul Ronaldo. And I mean, he was just beating the holy bejeebus out of him. I was a little bit surprised that Stevens did not come out, because you kind of remember how Stevens was trying to be there for Saul. You know, there's obviously that somewhat a warm affection that he has, you know, for Saul and everything. I'm a little bit surprised that Aaron didn't come out, and maybe he called me a stickler for detail, but kind of would have been nice to see Aaron come out just to kind of further the hell is going on between Kratos and Aaron. It would have been kind of nice to see that, but nah. Saul losing to Kratos, I mean, that was pretty much a squash match when it was all said and done. We got ourselves another summit. By the way, let me take a quick pause. If you guys are enjoying yourself so far, enjoying this episode, please make sure if you haven't done so already, do go out of your way. Make sure you hit that like, click on that subscribe, hit that bell notification, right? So you don't miss out on all the content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Was checking out the analytics literally the other day, and I've been enjoying seeing the amount of people that are subscribed, that's checking out the content, versus the people that are not subscribed but are checking out the content. I mean, it's almost a 50-50 split. So I like that. So I tremendously I like that. If you're not a subscriber, I mean, that's totally cool. You know, more power to you and everything. Hopefully you subscribe. But if you don't subscribe, you know, that's all right. But just make sure you hit that like, man. That's very important, because it definitely lets other people know out there in the YouTube community, especially those that miss the talk of NWA and everything, kind of helps flush out to them, hey, here's something that's NWA related that, you know, you can check out, since you like the talk of NWA, you like NWA content and all that. All right, so we're almost done, by the way. I know we're kind of blazing through right now, but we are like literally almost done here with our reaction edition of NWA Powerrr. We had another summit, as we got to see some beautiful, lovely ladies in the house. And you know what? I actually want to show you guys a couple of images here. So if you guys can just indulge me here for a quick second, I'll actually load this up. So we can show you guys some beautiful, lovely ladies here. And to kind of follow up on the song that I was talking about, what was it, last night? Oh yeah, beautiful girls, you know. Let's see here. That's definitely not beautiful girls. So hang on, we're looking at a joint from the main event match. And while I'm setting that up for you guys, what I'm talking about, there was another summit between Camille and Thunder Rosa. So if you remember how the last one had went a couple of weeks ago, you're going, ooh man, that was spicy, right? And, you know, it's always fun. When the women are doing their thing on NWA Powerrr, because, you know, we're doing like a little private little watch along in Discord and everything. And it's so funny because when all the women pop up, you know, it's very respectful. But, you know, the guys are like, oh, man, she's gorgeous. Oh, man. And tonight, we all were just so... Damn, look at Melina. Melina is just nice and extra thick tonight. That was the main thing going on tonight. And I'm trying to think who else. Thunder Rosa got some love too, but everybody was mainly tripping over Melina, you know. Hey, what can you say, man? When you think about those trademark splits that Melina used to do back in the day, I mean, she's aged pretty damn good too, man. She's aged pretty damn good. But all right, so I got the image loaded up for you guys. This was the summit that we had going on here. Melina on the far left. That should be your far left, yeah? Hopefully I said that right. Should be your far left. Thunder Rosa, Cal Davis as always, Camille, and Taryn Terrell. This pretty much was Summit 2, and there were some interesting developments that came from this one. Now look, You had to really sit through this one and you had to filter through. Honestly, it was a bit overkill. I gotta say, it was a bit overkill. It didn't feel all over the place, but it did feel a bit long-winded of a segment. And for me, it was like, okay, let's kind of get to it already. So, for example, if you were to tell me the total segment for the Summit 2, let's make sure I say Summit 2. If you were to tell me that it ran 10 minutes, I would say to you, okay, you know what? That's about maybe 3-4 minutes of unnecessary OT we don't need. Because it just kind of felt like after a while the girls were going around in a circle, and you're trying to understand exactly, okay, what is the main point. It wasn't as good as the first Summit. I think we definitely could all, those of us that saw this episode for this week, we all could be in agreement. It wasn't as good as the first Summit. What this was really about was, what's the stipulations, what stipulations are going to be added to this match that we know is going to be going down between Camille and Thunder Rosa and everything. And remember what we had talked about, I think it was on, not this last Power Surge, but it kind of felt like something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And I told you guys it was kind of weird how May Valentine had said to Thunder Rosa about, working in one particular company. And then Thunder Rosa jumping out there saying, how I make my money, that's my business. Remember that? Okay, so now we're kind of seeing that. And I did tell you guys, I kind of felt as though that wasn't just thrown out there for no damn apparent reason, but it did kind of feel a bit awkward. And now that I say that, maybe in retrospect, maybe it felt kind of awkward because of the way it was executed, the way it was phrased, the questioning and all that. Maybe that's what kind of had me, you understand? I wouldn't be surprised if most people kind of felt that same way as well. But I did kind of tell you guys, we got to be going somewhere. That wasn't just randomly just thrown in there for the hell of it, but it came off awkward. So Camille taking serious issue with the fact that Thunder Rosa is going to all these different promotions, working for them, building up her brand, all this other stuff. So the stipulation that she puts out there to Thunder Rosa, hey, you want to do this #1 contenders match with me? You want to try to figure out who's going to go on and challenge for the NWA women's title? Okay, well, you do this match with me. We're going to go 20 minutes, one fall. And if I beat you, you can never work for another wrestling promotion except NWA. You're going to be stuck in the NWA, where you basically will get to watch me go on to ultimately become the new NWA Women's Champion. Now, let's keep up with the storyline consistency here, right? Well, we got a couple of weeks ago, we had got Thunder Rosa when May Valentine was interviewing her and questioning, hey, some people feel that you're not exactly being loyal to NWA. You're not exactly being loyal to one promotion because you're just going out, everywhere. Remember what Thunder Rosa had said, hey, I got financial responsibilities. I got a family. I got to do what I got to do to be able to provide for them and everything. And, when it comes to how I make my money, you know what? People just need to mind their own goddamn business. Remember that? We talked about that. Remember that? So now we get this unique situation where, okay, you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, surely Thunder Rosa is gonna, scoff at that and be like, you know what? Hell no. No, that ain't happening. Hell no. What else you got? You think that maybe she's gonna say something like that, or she's going to come up with her own stipulation and say, okay, well, if and when I defeat you, this is what's going to be going on. I was honestly ready for Thunder Rosa to come right back out there and say, hey, if and when I defeat you, your tenure in Strictly Business is done. you can never, ever, ever again be aligned with Strictly Business. You can never be associated with that group ever again in any fashion. If they decide they want to go under a different name, no, none of that. You have to be done with them. And if you do get back with them in any form, don't matter the name, you get back with those guys in any form, you're suspended for 3 months or some weird, stupid shit like that. We could probably improve that a lot more, but you guys kind of get the point that I'm making. But Thunder Rosa, no stipulation on her part. Instead, Thunder Rosa actually accepted the challenge because she just felt so confident in her ability that she felt in her heart she was going to get the job done. Again, I can't help but wonder, okay, obviously this is going to be going down at the NWA pay-per-view When the Shadows Fall. That's going to be coming up in a few weeks. Obviously, this is when these girls are going to be locking it up. I still can't help but question, what type of role will Melina play in this? Is Melina really through and through, does she really have great intentions here? Or is this all about extracting some type of revenge to a certain degree? I still can't help but really, really wonder that. So that's kind of something you got to have in the back of your head and everything. But now that we know what the stipulations were and everything, okay, now we're good. It was overkill though, man. They should have trimmed it by a couple of minutes. But beautiful ladies, as always. Great seeing all of them. Except for Cal. We know Cal's a guy. But, hey. Well, some of you guys may think Cal's a nice looking girl too. So, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, main event match. Falls Count Anywhere. Jax Dane taking on Slice Boogie. I got to tell you, of all the matches that went down on this edition of Super Powerrr, boy, I tell you, these boys, they went out there and they delivered a freaking main event match. I gotta give them mad fucking props. I enjoyed this match for what it was worth. This was pretty much a this was just just some of the action that we had got. These guys pretty much were fighting all around the studio and everything because they had a Falls Count Anywhere match. And you know what? It lived up to it. I gotta say, no bullshit. When me and my little viewing party, when we were doing our thing, watching this match, and we heard, oh yeah, Falls Count Anywhere, I kind of reminded myself, but everybody else, it was kind of their first time hearing that. They're going, in the studio, huh? I'm like, okay, well, this should be interesting. Like, nobody was criticized. Like, okay, Falls Count Anywhere around the studio. If anything, there was a concern about, well, you can only go but so far in this studio. So, but you know what? The boys made the best out of their surroundings. And man, they took some serious fucking spots in this match, man. There was one fucking back suplex onto the floor. I'm going, Jesus Christ. I'm just thinking of the old WCW days and everything when we had, no, we don't need no mats out there. Just go out there and just hit them on the floor. Yeah, just lay them out on the floor. You're like, you sure you want to be doing that? Because you're really going to be hurting somebody's career physically. Insane spots in this. But here's the thing. When I say insane spots, as you guys can see another image here, for those of you checking out the web stream here, it was really, when I look back on this fight, it wasn't about flips. It was really about fists. And these guys were just brawling all around the studio and everything. I loved it. It was fucking badass. Slice Boogie going over with the dub, but it came courtesy of Crimson, because Crimson came out almost towards the end. He wasn't liking what was going on with his boy Jax Dane, and he actually had a white towel in his hand, and he's about ready to throw that son of a bitch, but he's continuing to, he's looking on and everything. Now, Now, Jax Dane never at any point said, "Nah, man, don't throw the towel." But they do make eye contact with each other and everything. But Crimson is just right there. He's patiently waiting and everything. And at one point, Crimson actually tries to do a little rally cry for his tag partner. Slice Boogie looks at him, shut your mouth, mind your business. You ain't got no business being out here, go to the back and all that. And Crimson, that was like fighting words for him. He actually got up on top of the apron and he's trash talking Slice Boogie. Meanwhile, you got Jax Dane that is able to come to, he's able to, regain his composure and everything. He tries to charge after Boogie. Boogie gets out the way. And sadly, Jax Dane did a nice freaking tackle, inadvertent tackle in the Crimson. Sent Crimson flying off the apron, hitting that concrete floor. Jax Dane immediately rolls out of the ring to check up on his boy. Meanwhile, we got Slice Boogie in the ring. He's got a steel chair in his hand. He's waiting patiently, trying to see what the hell's going on here. And Jax Dane decides, okay, you know what? The hell with this. I'm not doing this match anymore. He actually takes Crimson's towel and throws it in. Referee is like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Jax Dane, I don't want to do this match anymore. Nah, man, this is more important. This is my boy. He's hurting. So the match gets called off as Slice Boogie wins via submit, if you will, because Jax Dane gave up. Jax Dane cared more about his tag partner than he did about the match. It was I gotta say, it was an awkward finish. It was definitely an awkward finish. You would have thought that maybe Jax Dane would have just, you okay, what's going on? Yell for officials to come out, check on him and everything, then go back in the ring. But at this point, Boogie, well rested, got that steel chair, and pretty much maybe Slice Boogie wins that way. But it didn't play out like that. It didn't play out like that at all. And it was just kind of one of those head-scratching moments where you go, that's a bit awkward. Yet, you could appreciate the fact that they were further extending and adding a new layer into this rivalry between Boogie and Dane. Like obviously these guys are not done with each other by a long shot. We're going to take it up to another level here. So, I mean, yeah, you got the good and the bad, the bitter and the sweet. It was what it was. With regards to our main event match, as we talked about at the very top, that pretty much was a no-go. So we go back after the main event match between Slice Boogie, Jax Dane was over. We go back to Velvet Sky, Tim Storm, Joe Galley, and they're trying to confirm on whether or not, okay, what about that main event match? Are we gonna see Latimer Adonis taking on Stevens and Kratos? Like, Stevens and Kratos, they're ready to go. Like, what's going on? And, they're listening in their little headset piece and everything. And apparently all members of Strictly Business, they've rolled out. They are nowhere to be found. Like, they have left the arena. And so Powerrr pretty much goes off with the commentating team saying, hey, we're sorry about this, but, we got all this airtime left, but there's no, Strictly Business isn't here. They left. And so it pretty much goes off like that. I gotta say, that was probably one of the weakest endings to an NWA Powerrr I've seen thus far, and I've pretty much been watching the product for about... See, I'm really watching it regularly now and have been since it returned right before the pandemic and everything. So I would say probably about a little over a year, maybe a year and a half. I've been checking out the NWA product now. Yeah, this was not a really cool finish, I personally felt. You asked me as far as, okay, well, what would have been a better way to put a nice little pretty bookend on this episode? I think he should have had cameras cut to the back. They're able to catch up with Strictly Business. Everybody's getting in, the limo or whatever. They try to catch up with Nick Adonis, and Nick Adonis pretty much says, no comment, get those cameras out of my face. We have no comment, drive, and they pretty much drive off. I think that probably would have been a better way to end it, but it is what it is. So, I mean, definitely some bright spots in this episode, but there was definitely some, let's kind of tweak this a little bit better going forward. So, a little bit of an average episode, I would say, for this week. As far as scale of 1 to 10, 1 being and 10 being awesome sauce, I would probably give this episode about a 7, about a 7. Give or take, just about a 7. I think if they would have cleaned up the finish to Powerrr more, kind of maybe go in that direction I was kind of highlighting, definitely put a little bit more mustard on that summit. I think that probably would have boosted, and have Cross and Mims maybe go an extra couple of minutes. I definitely think I probably would have gone as high as an 8 and stayed at an 8. I don't think I could have gone any higher than that. But that is NWA Powerrr for this week. So those of you that end up checking out NWA Powerrr, definitely let me know what you guys had thought about the episode, because I'm most curious. I want to know what you guys had thought about it and everything. Hey, shout out to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio, video content. Won't be able to find anywhere else. Shout out to our patron familia. Love you guys as always. And as far as programming notes go, I'm going to be back with you guys once again Wednesday night, May 12th, 2021. We'll be talking AEW Dynamite Fallout. We'll also talk NXT Fallout. We'll go over ratings from this week's Raw. I'll also go over the ratings for this past week's NXT and AEW shows. We also got a couple of headlines that we can dive into. There's a poll that I have up right now, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab. It's a really cool poll up. I'm asking you guys, which show was the worst show? The Triple H show or the John Cena show? Head over there and cast your vote. For some people, it's very difficult for them to choose, but you need a better idea what I mean by that exactly. I promise, as soon as you read the little bit of info that I have provided with that poll, it'll give you a better idea what I mean. But most wrestling fans know exactly what I'm talking about when I say the Triple H show or the John Cena show. We'll go over your results, and we'll kind of go over a little bit of a timeline and everything for both of those respective guys on Wednesday's RCWR show. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. One more time, you had a good time. You know what to do. Show that love, all right? Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. Thank you for checking out this edition of my NWA Powerrr reaction and review. We'll see you next go round. Adios.